So in Galatians 1:21, referring to the same period of his life, and he says, "Afterwards I came into the regions of Syria and Cilicia. It may will be then that Tarsus was merely his base of operation." Kumbaga yung pinaka-base niya, itong Tarsus, from which they preached Christ in Syria and Cilicia. In fact, there appears to be considerable evidence that this was the case. So we read in Acts 15:23 of the communication sent by the church at Jerusalem to the brethren. Ito po yung sabi niya sa Acts 15:23. At saka Acts 15:41, which are of the Gentiles in Antioch and Syria and Cilicia. And we are told that after Paul's separation from Barnabas, he went through Syria and Cilicia, confirming the churches. Now, how and when did it come about that there were Gentile believers in Syria and Cilicia, and who had founded churches there? So in answer to this question, it should be observed first that neither Paul nor Jewish believers from Judea could have led these Gentiles to Christ before the conversion of Cornelius. Ito po yung Gentile convert before Paul. According to the testimony of both Peter and James in Acts 15:7 and 14. And Cornelius and those of his household were the first Gentiles to hear the word of the gospel and believe. So ito po si Cornelius ay Gentile believer before the conversion of Saul. Ito po yung tinatawag na proselyte. Ibig sabihin, ligtas sila under the kingdom program, hindi sa grace program. And there were men of Cilicia in Jerusalem during Stephen's ministry there in Acts 6:9, but this could not have brought Christ to Cilicia, for they themselves had rejected Stephen's testimony and had helped to bring about his martyrdom. Then, scattered by the persecution that arose about Stephen, could hardly have brought Christ to the Gentiles of this territory, for we are distinctly told that they traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus, Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. So, ang purpose po ng kanilang pangaral sa iba't ibang lugar ay yung mga Hudyo lang. Kanilang ipinapangaral yung gospel under the kingdom program. And some of them, when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Grecians or Greeks, preaching the Lord Jesus in Acts 11:9 and then 20. Thus these scattered believers reached as far as Antioch, but not further into Syria, much less Cilicia. Moreover, Antioch is designated as the one city where they ventured to preach Christ to the Gentiles at that time. So kung pansinin po natin yung kanilang ministry, kahit anong mangyari along the way, hindi sila natatakot basta ipangaral nila ang Panginoon. It was the conversion of the Gentiles at Antioch, of course, that brought Saul there, and there he ministered for a whole year in Acts 11:26. And we could not exclude that possibility that he evangelized Syria and Cilicia during that year. But again, the record seems to confine his ministry to Antioch for that entire period, for it is written in Acts 11:26, a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. Nor could Paul have founded these churches during his first apostolic journey, for his road is outlined for us in that record, and it did not take him further into Syria or into Cilicia. It is true that Paul could have sent evangelists into Syria kung hindi man kung hindi man si Pablo nakapunta sa Syria, Cilicia, pero may mga believers. So, pwede na yung kanyang mga pinangaralan, tinuruan ay ipinadala niya doon at silang nagtuturo. During the year he spent at Antioch. Nung nandun siya sa Antioch, matagal siya sa Antioch, so ibig sabihin yung mga believers sa Syria, Cilicia, ay yung mga ipinadala niyang mga evangelist. But in the absence here, of any statement to that effect, it would seem more probable that these churches were founded by Paul during this so-called period of retirement in Tarsus, and indeed the statement in Acts 15:41 that he went through Syria and Cilicia confirming the churches. So may mga churches na doon sa Syria and Cilicia. And which seems to imply that these were churches which he had founded. And then, the record of Peter's ministry resumed as we have seen that Apostle Peter is the central figure of the first 8 chapters dun sa first part ng Book of Acts. Then in chapter 9, we have the conversion of Paul and his earliest Christian experience. And this is followed again by the story of Peter, but only briefly in Acts 9:32 to Acts 11:18. For in the 11th chapter, Paul again becomes the central figure and remains so until the close of the book of Acts. So nawala yung kay Peter, 'di ba? Sa first part ng book of Acts, sino po yung pinaka central figure? Si Peter. But later on, after the last part of the book of Acts, sino po yung nagiging central figure? Si Apostle Paul. Hanggang sa last part ng book of Acts. It is commonly said that the story of Peter and his associates in Acts 1 to chapter 11 verse 18 is interrupted in chapter 9 by the conversion of Paul, and this is so, but it is equally true that the story of Paul and his associates, Acts 9:1 to Acts 28:31, is what? Interrupted by Peter's dealings with Aeneas, Dorcas, and Cornelius. The ministries of the two men are interlinked thus. So Peter, central figure in first part of the book of Acts. Pero from chapter 9 to last, si Apostle Paul ang pinaka-central figure. So first part ng book of Acts, more on sa mga apostles. Last part ng book of Acts, more on Apostle Paul. So it is important that we bear this fact in mind in our study of the book of Acts, for it is not merely in the chronological record that the ministries of this man are interlinked. The record was given to show dispensational connection. It is true that Paul's apostleship was entirely separate. Tandaan po natin yun Yung Paul's apostleship was entirely separate and distinct from that of the 12 apostles. Huwag niyo pong pagsamahin yon. Magkaiba po. May distinction po. Apostleship, Paul's apostleship and 12 apostle. And he was called on the road to Damascus. Not of man, neither by man. Ayon sa Galatians 1:1. Moreover, he was called to a different ministry than they, to testify the gospel of the grace of God, to preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Christ in Acts 20:24, Ephesians 8. But it must not be supposed from this that there was no connection between their ministries. So to begin with, Paul represented that same God as the 12 against whom Israel was now rebelling. And represented the same Christ whom Israel was now rejecting. And the salvation of God, what happened? In Acts 28, nung nireject ng mga Israelites yung gospel, yung katuruan, ito po ang nangyari. Acts 28:28. The salvation of God is sent unto the Gentiles. The salvation of God which Israel had refused was now to be sent unto the Gentiles. Malinaw po sa atin yan. Nireject ng Israel yung mensahe. Dahilan na ang kaligtasan ay sent to the Gentiles. Kaya nga ang programa ngayon more on sa ating mga Gentiles. Kaso lang, yung katuruan para sa mga Hintil, hindi naman ipinapangaral. Ang kanilang ipinapangaral, bumabalik sa Mateo, Mark, Luke, and John, Genesis to the book of Malachi, Hebrews to Revelation, na yung mga mensahe na yan para sa mga Israelites, hindi na nakita na ang programa ngayon ay nasa mga Hintil, that the salvation of God is sent unto the Gentiles. Hindi po mahirap unawain. Ito po ang nangyari sa panahon natin ngayon. Pinahirapan lang yung sarili at nahihirapan kung ano ang gospel ang ipapangaral, nahihirapan kung ano ang basis ng kaligtasan, ano ang gospel para dapat i-share para ang tao ay maligtas. Hindi po parehas ang pangangaral ng mga 12 apostol at si Apostle Paul. At sa puntong ito, ang kaligtasan ay sent to the Gentiles. Bakit? Inayawan ng mga Israelites yung mensahe. So thus Paul's ministry was not merely another program which he had decided to start separately from the church at Jerusalem. It was the next step in the program of God, and unless we see that progress, the developments in the whole program, we miss a great deal. This is why, as we shall see especially in the case of Cornelius, the two ministries are thus interlinked. Aeneas healed, and it came to pass, Peter passed throughout all quarters. He came down also to the saints which dwelt at Lydda. And there he found a certain man named Aeneas, and which had kept his bed 8 years, may sakit, and was sick of the palsy. And Peter said unto him, Aeneas, Jesus Christ maketh thee whole, and arise and make thy bed. And he arose immediately, and all that dwelt at Lydda and Saron saw him and turned to the Lord. In Acts 9:32-35. As we have seen, God began to do something new with the conversion of Saul. But he would teach us at the outset that this does not mean that the old program was immediately to disappear. So may tinatawag transition. Hindi agad na nag-disappear ang old program, mayroon pong tinatawag na gradual changes or diminishing. Though the secret crisis in Israel had passed with the stoning of Stephen, and God would not leave the nation any excuse for rejecting Christ. He would continue to work with his people, and he would provoke them to jealousy by the conversions of the Gentiles in Romans 11:11. And he would continue to prove through Paul as well as the other apostles that Jesus was the Christ. In Acts 9:22, in Acts 18:28. So, yung programa ng Israel, temporary lang nag-stop. At ito ngayon, may bagong programa sa pamagitan ni Apostol Pablo na siya ay tinawag apostol para sa mga Hintil. he would stretch out his hands all day long to disobedience and gainsaying people in Romans 10:21. The new program would only gradually displace the old. Mayroong tinatawag transition na nangyayari. This is one reason why God now introduces Peter again in the healing of Aeneas, the raising of Dorcas, and the conversion of Cornelius. The presence of saints at Lydda should not surprise us when we remember that Philip, the evangelist, had preached in all the cities from Azotus to Caesarea just previous to this in Acts 8:40. A glance at map of Palestine will show that Lydda was on the main road between these two cities. But while there were perhaps many saints in the city, Aeneas occupies the central place in the story and reminds us of Israel's condition and need. So the name Aeneas is said to mean praise. But Aeneas was a paralytic lying helpless in his bed. But now Peter says, Aeneas, Jesus Christ maketh thee whole. And immediately the man rises to his feet, and many, through his miraculous restoration, ano pong nangyari? Naniniwala po nung nakita nilang si Aeneas ay gumaling. And praise should have been Israel's name. So to speak, it should have characterized her existence and experience according to Isaiah 60 verse 18 and Isaiah 62 verse 7. But she lay prostrate, paralyzed by her unbelief and rejection of Christ, and it was Jesus Christ she needed to make her whole. And it is He who will one day raise her up and through her turn many to Himself. At isa pa, si Dorcas, raised from the dead. Now there was at Joppa a certain disciple named Tabitha, which by interpretation is called Dorcas. And this woman was full of good works and alms deeds, which she did. And it came to pass in those days that she was sick and died. Whom when they had washed, and they laid her in an upper chamber. So, and for as much as Lydda was nigh to Joppa, and the disciples had heard that Peter was there, and they sent unto him 2 men, desiring him that he would not delay to come to them. Then Peter arose and went with them. So when he was come, they brought him into the upper chamber, and all the widows stood by him, weeping, kasi namatay nga itong si Dorcas. Pumunta si Peter, and showing the coats and garments which Dorcas made while she was with them. Ito po, ang record dito sa Acts 9, 36 to 43. But Peter put them all forth and kneeled down and prayed, and turning him to the body, said, Tabitha, arise. And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. And he gave her his hand, and lifted her up, and when he had called the saints and widows, presented her alive. And it was known throughout all Joppa, and many believed in the Lord. And it came to pass that he tarried many days in Joppa with one Simon a tanner. In contrast to paralyzed Aeneas, and we are now introduced to Tabitha, or Dorcas. The name means antelope or gazelle, and makes one think of alertness and activity, the very opposite of paralysis. Moreover, we read that she was full of good works and alms deeds. So this woman residing at Joppa died while Peter was at Lydda, and the disciples, learning of his presence there, sent for him to come without delay. When Peter arrived, the widows whom Dorcas had helped stood about him weeping and showing the coats and garments she had made for the needy. Diba? Yun yung ginagawa kasi ni Dorcas, matulungin siya eh. Marami siyang ginagawang good works at ito ngayon namatay at pinuntahan ni Peter at may mga record na katulad sa kanya, katulad ng sa Elisha in 2 Kings 4:33, he had lived the room doubtless that the glory of your resurrection might be God's alone. Then Elijah, so Elisha and then Elijah in 1 Kings 17:21, ganun din na may namatay that time ay binuhay, nabuhay. Okay? 2 Kings 4:33. So ganun din yung kay Peter, si Tabitha, Dorcas. Sabi, arise, and once more we read that through the incident many believe in the Lord. So ganun po ang nangyayari. And we didn't find the Lord kneeling in prayer at the working of any miracle. Even at the raising of Lazarus, he addresses the Father for the sakes of those about him. As the healing of Eneas, okay, Eneas, Dorcas. So ito yung mga natulungan ni Pedro that time na kanyang binuhay. Restoration of living Israel and the resurrection of Israel saved dead will be the means of turning many to the Lord. Alam niyong nangyari, maraming naniniwala sa Panginoon nung gumaling itong si Eneas, si Dorcas, representing Israel. So, ito pong si Eneas and Dorcas speaks of the future resurrection of those in Israel who will have died full of good works at sila'y ma-restore during the millennium. Pagbalik ng ating Panginoon, ma-restore po ang Israel. So, ganun po yung picture. Pero dito po, makikita natin yung dalawang program ng ating Panginoon, the Grace Program and the Kingdom Program. So, kailangan po natin maunawaan ang programa dito sa Book of Acts. Para ma-recognize nyo, ma-acknowledge nyo na kung saang programa ba tayo dapat mamuhay, magturo. Ano ba ang doktrina na ating ipapangaral? Yung doktrina under the kingdom or doktrina under the grace? Yung earthly program ba or yung heavenly program? Yung prophecy ba or yung mystery? Ang dami po na dapat nating maunawaan, kaya tuloy-tuloy lang po nating pag-aralan itong Book of Acts at yung mga iba pang mga books na pwede nating pag-aaralan habang inaaral natin ang Bible rightly divided. So hanggang dito na lang po. Maraming salamat.